Welcome to the Pipeline Podcast. Today is July 19th. I bet you can take a really good guess at what we're going to go over today. What we're going over today is Epstein. That's the only story going on this week. So we have the most important Epstein news to me that we're going to go over, the latest update. And then we also have some smaller updates, mostly Epstein in the media, and kind of how the media has been just scrambling to even understand like how to try to spin Epstein or what to do with him. Because you do got to be careful. The dude did stuff with kids, right? You got to be careful what you say, especially if you're like mainstream media. Let's check out the sources here. First, we have a little update from the DOJ on Epstein, and then we're going to kind of go into some of these like media personalities that kind of talk about Epstein, because that's been all over the news this week. Here, to me, this is the most important update on Epstein this week. So DOJ moves to release grand jury testimony in Epstein case. So we all know Trump's been going around saying, forget about Epstein. He wants it to be over. That's not working, obviously, because it's kind of like everybody wants Epstein to not be over. Everyone wants to know the truth. And like the evidence that the FBI and DOJ gave us didn't really settle anything. And they claim that it would. Media's back at it. Everyone's mad. Everyone's back at it. We all want answers. We're not getting them. That's why I'm going over this here. We might actually be able to get some kind of answers. So it looks like if the judge agrees to release the testimony, it will just be like witnesses in this grand jury. Basically, what did the witnesses say in the grand jury about Epstein? That's the information that we might get. But again, it looks like it's up to this judge. We're going to have to wait and see on that. That is a little update. And I would almost say it's like the only real update on Epstein that we've got. The only thing that's actually new. And let's check out just how the media's been talking about him. So we're going to come back to this. But we have Stephen Colbert is getting canceled in 2026. And the mainstream media is kind of saying it's because he criticized Trump, which probably is true. He went to this like anti-Trump protest or something like that also. He's talked about it on the show already, but like CBS owns his show, and CBS just settled out of court with Trump for like $16 million or something like that. And so he criticized that. Now he's getting taken off air. But also what he did is he talked about Epstein a little bit, a couple times. So I was looking at the timeline here. He announces he's going off air on the 17th, but it looks like on the 15th and 16th, he was talking about Epstein. Put your tinfoil hat on. I'm trying to make this a conspiracy, not a mainstream media story. Maybe he is getting taken off the air because he talked about Epstein, and maybe it's not because of what he said about Trump. That is a fun conspiracy, and we're going to follow it. Oh, yeah, here was like a clip. Basically, he was ragging on Trump, also did a lot of talking about Epstein, and now he's getting taken off air just days later. So that's fun. You might call that the Trump effect, but Epstein might have had something to do with it, in my opinion. This, I think, is another video, another Stephen Colbert video of like him talking about Epstein. And like this could be why he's getting thrown off the air. I just wanted to show it. Like it's not like he's never talked about Epstein before, and he has like multiple times this week. And lo and behold, on Thursday, he announces that he's getting taken off air. So I thought that was worth going over. That was interesting to me. We also have Jimmy Kimmel speaking out against Trump. And that's kind of been the meme is like, oh, Jimmy Kimmel's next. I think Trump made a statement or something like that, a truth post maybe. And I think in here, if we can try and find it real quick, Kimmel digs on Trump about Epstein. So right here, Kimmel was mocking Trump's letter that he sent to Epstein. Because apparently Trump sent this letter to Epstein, and in the letter it said, may every day be another wonderful secret. And it looks like Jimmy Kimmel was mocking that. I'm not exactly sure when, but recently, as late as July 19th, as late as today, it might have been today, it might have been earlier. But I see this, and I see the memes that are all like, oh, they got Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel's next. I wouldn't be surprised if that's true, because it looks like it's very possible that if these talk show hosts, these mainstream guys, start talking about Epstein too much, the networks think maybe they're a little too unhinged, or they're a little too unstable. It might cost the network a lot of money. It might make them liable for stuff. So that could be what's happening. I'm just trying to create a conspiracy because like everything about Epstein is like so mainstream nowadays that you got to really dig deep for some good stuff that's like not old news. So we're going to be following this. We're going to see in the future episodes, we're going to follow, starting I guess with Colbert, how many like talk show hosts or news TV hosts talk about Epstein and get taken off air. So we're at 1 with Colbert. Kimmel might be 2. Let me know if I'm forgetting anyone. because there very well could be others. Oh, here's a fun one also. We cover this on the channel where Jesse Waters slanders Newsom. Even though if that lawsuit actually went to court, I don't think Newsom wins that lawsuit. Even though he's technically right, he did get slandered, but it's a really, really weak case. So it looks like Jesse Waters apologized about it today, probably because Fox News doesn't want to get sued or lose money to Newsom. Originally, that was one of Newsom's demands, you omit the statement or whatever and apologize and I'll drop the lawsuit. And the title says here, Jesse Waters admits he erred in saying Newsom lied about Trump phone call, but governor isn't dropping the lawsuit. And so I really haven't looked into this too much, but I have been following this lawsuit. If it is true that Fox News and Jesse Waters met Newsom's demand and Newsom isn't dropping the lawsuit, that's a pretty shitty thing to do. Because I do believe, I'll have to look into it when I kind of do an update on this again, on this story. But I'm pretty sure Newsom said originally that hey, if you apologize and take it off air, I'll drop the lawsuit. So yeah, look at the governor's lawyers sent Fox News a letter demanding a formal retraction and an on-air apology from Waters and said that if the network complies, the governor would drop the suit. But then allegedly, Jesse Waters went on July 17th and apologized, but apparently it didn't satisfy that threshold for Newsom. So I guess his apology wasn't good enough. Let's see if we can find that apology and we can all decide together if the apology was good enough or not. All right, I think this is it.
Newsom sued Fox News. He didn't even ask for a correction first. He just sued. I invited him on the show to talk it out man to man, but he said no. So we'll have to do it without him. On Tuesday, June 10th, President Trump said this in connection with the LA riots. Listen.
Mr. President, when is the last time you spoke with Governor Newsom?
A day ago. Called him up to tell him, got to do a better job. He's doing a bad job.
Newsom responded on X, there was no call, not even a voicemail. We took that to mean there was no call, ever, period. Wouldn't you? President Trump sent Fox's John Roberts a screenshot showing that Trump and Newsom did have a call the previous Friday night, the first night of the riots. Based on what we knew at the time, I asked, why would Newsom lie and claim Trump never called him? Newsom says he meant there was no call, not even a voicemail, a day ago. And he was arguing about only when the call took place, not whether there was a call. Newsom thinks it would have been clear if we had played the full clip where President Trump said they spoke a day ago. Well, we left that out because it didn't seem relevant. We thought the dispute was about whether there had been a call at all, not when. We thought the governor was clear when he said without qualification that there was no call. Now Newsom's telling us what was in his head when he wrote the tweet. He didn't deceive anybody on purpose.
I will say this video is definitely not an apology. It's kind of a I'll see you in court, Newsom type of thing. I guess technically he did admit he was wrong, but then he went on to say this is why we were wrong, because your tweet was very vague, or your X post was very vague. I'll link the video that goes over that. But after seeing that, I really think this is going to go to court, and Jesse Waters on Fox News might actually be right here, because Newsom's lawsuit is misleading, and it is hard to tell if Fox News actually slandered him or not. It really is just up to the judge there. It's not clear cut. So anyway, that's just more lawsuits in the media, people potentially getting fired, this guy, Jesse Waters. So I wanted to cover it, even though it doesn't have anything to do with Epstein, but it's something we've been covering on the channel. And we also have something that probably went under the radar for most people this week because of Epstein stuff. JD Vance flew to Montana to meet with Rupert Murdoch. So that could be a fun conspiracy. The reason I pulled it up is does it have something to do with the Jesse Waters, Gavin Newsom lawsuit? JD Vance is hey, fight that lawsuit because it'll make us look good? Or does it have something to do with hey, Fox News, stop talking about Epstein or else we're going to sue you, and we don't want to do that because you guys are the only pro-Trump network. I think it has something to do with either of those two things. I don't really know. All this stuff is kind of juicy, and it really could all link back to Epstein at the end of the day, except for this lawsuit here, Jesse Waters, Gavin Newsom thing. So that's really the update on Epstein. I hope you liked it. Again, the only real news is that the DOJ is trying to release grand jury testimony on the Epstein case. So that could be good stuff if we get to read that. And if you want more updates, subscribe to the channel, check out our Epstein playlist. We do this episodes live on Twitch, and we're always live on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. And we do like a long form podcast episode. It's a lot of fun. And then during the week, just throughout the week, we'll do episodes like this where we just kind of talk about the most poppin' stories in the news. So if you like any of that kind of stuff, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode.